Okay, since we met last, we had 3 new coaches that we hired. Okay, so Brian Bing is our assistant D-line coach. Ryan Griffin will work as an offensive assistant, working with the quarterbacks and receivers. And Matt Pease will be our defensive analyst. So that's an update from last time we met there in Chicago. It's great to see everybody. Looking forward to the combine and getting onto the process of evaluating these guys. It's always really our first touch, working with these players and getting to know them personally. That's a big part of it. And it's a small part of it, though, because then you work onto your pro days, you work onto your 30 visits. And then from there, you really work on to get to know the guys as we go from there. But we're excited about it. And again, Ryan already talked about it this morning. We have no big news for you today. We're going through the process right now of really just figuring out the opportunities that we do have and potentially have, and then learning these players as we go through this process. So with that, I'll open up to questions. No, I think you do it the same every year. You want to have a thorough evaluation on all the players because you go back to those and you look at those evaluations. As those guys grow in the league and go through free agency, you look at all those evaluations. So you do it the same. It's really about this time of year, right? So you're in the process of formulating a whole new roster. You got your spots that you got to fill, and you're always looking at that every single year. And to me, it's about formulating that as we go through this free agency, and then filling the holes with the draft. And then really, it's about the coaches now developing that talent, and then putting everything in place, and then building our football team once we get into the off-season program. So that's what I'm most excited about. Yeah, it'll be the same process. We'll take them into the room. In this particular case, I'll ask them if they want to do darts or putting. I like putting. I'm pretty good at both, but then they'll decide that, and then we'll just teach them something about the offensive play, and then we'll show them their tape and have them talk about their tape and kind of checking their FBI out there, and then recall at the end to give us back what they learned in the beginning. And it's the same process for all the players.
With an entirely new offensive coaching staff, how long does it take for you guys to build out a playbook, and when would you be able to give that to the players that are on your roster?
Yeah, so right now they're in the process of doing that. They really are. They've been working, every day when they're in the office, and it's important that Shane, and Simo and the rest of the staff get together and start to marry these things together and formulate our offensive identity. And they're in the process of doing that right now. Yeah, the wiring of a quarterback obviously is number one is leadership. You have to be a great leader. You got to be resilient. You got to be able to handle criticism. And then obviously the physical traits. That's a big part of it. The accuracy, the timing, the platform, all the things you talk about with that, and then being a winner. That's what it comes down to. All these teams that do things at the end of the season, they have winners at the quarterback spot. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's evaluated every single year, right? So it's at the end of the year you'll evaluate that, and if that's the best move for the Bears, we'll certainly do that. And and what we're doing right now is what we think is best for the Bears. Yeah, I think you just point to the first 2 years. That first draft class, all the guys that played there, the free agencies we signed there, and then last year, obviously a huge free agency class with the draft class there, with all those guys played. So that's a foundation that we have built at the Bears. So, if Justin's the quarterback or a new quarterback's in there, there's a lot of things that are around him. And what's cool about it is we get to add some more pieces in free agency coming up here in the short term too. No, it doesn't. No, it's the same evaluation that we had, that I talked about at the end of the season at length, and I think it's the same. Yeah, we're in the process of building that team right now. So again, we'll have a lot of work to do between now and April 15, and then April 15 all the way to June 15. So there's a lot of work there to be done. I see it as a natural progression to our building of this franchise, and we're certainly excited about that. Yeah, I want to just commend the players, on the whole football team for sticking together the way they did at the end of the season, and us having a lot of success at the end. And the defense is the same. I want to really thank those guys for that, because they really hung together and started to really gel and started to get really, So to answer your question, you can always have more rushers, you can always have more corners, right? I love that. But we're close to being a pretty solid group.
Was it harder to evaluate the defense when before Montez Sweat was here? Was it harder to evaluate the players on your defense? No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously when you have more pass rush, the timing and the rhythm of their passing game certainly changes, but I don't think so, Jason. Yeah, obviously all of our reports go into a system. We rank those, and those are all there for everybody to see. So those are always going to be there, and we always go back a year later and say, hey, were we right on these? Where we have to adjust our thinking on each prospect. But I've been looking at quarterbacks all my life, and I know what a good quarterback looks like, and what's hard on the defense, and a guy that has the ability to create. A guy that has the ability to throw with timing and accuracy, and the guy that can move the ball down the field when it's critical moments, like on 3rd down, 2 minute, and all those critical moments. So I've always looked at that, and that's been a fun process for me.
When you have a quarterback in place, what is the key for you creating a connection between whoever the quarterback is and Shane?
Say that again?
When you do have a quarterback in place, what's the key for you from your chair of creating a connection between the quarterback and Shane?
Yeah, that's just about relationships, right? So we're going to have a plan in place, for, if Justin's coming back in there, we'll have a plan in place for that. If we have a new quarterback, we'll have a plan in place for that. So that's why you have a guy like Shane that's adjustable, adaptable, creative to be able to handle that, okay, and also be able to handle potential injury that might happen during the course of the year, and be able to adjust our offense accordingly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very small piece of it, Pat. I would say that you really can't glean that from that, but you can by talking to the coaches, by watching the tape, by going out to the pro days, spending the 30 visit with him when he comes on campus. You get to spend the whole day there. So I think when you chunk all those touches together, I think you can do it then, but not with just the one. Yeah, I would just say this, that, we're in the process of doing that right now. So we're not there yet. So we're just in the process of evaluating all the guys we have. So if it's quarterback, receiver, tight end, offensive line, all the positions. So we're at that point right now.
In Las Vegas now, what is he going to bring to the Raiders, and how can he benefit from the change of scenery?
Yeah, he'll bring leadership. He's great in front of the room. We'll bring great leadership to him. He has a system that he puts in that's rooted in the run game, in play action games. So they're going to be excited to have him.
Why did you change the structure of the offensive coaching staff this year, where you have a run game coordinator and a passing coordinator under Shane Waldron?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I really think it's important so they're all cohesive. I really sat down and met with all three of those guys individually and at the same time. And our offense is going to be a direct reflection of those three relationships. How we coordinate the run, the pass, and overall coordination
of those in situations during the course of the game. So I think that's why we did it, and I know that's why we did it, and it's going to be exciting to watch going forward. I just want more continuity and more communication there.
Matt, what have you learned about how Shane is able to unlock quarterbacks in this process? Why is he evaluating quarterbacks? What feedback has he gotten back specifically that he's able to unlock that position?
Yeah, I had a real long conversation with Pete, when that whole thing went down and we were in the interview process, and he just gleaned about Shane and talked about him at length about his ability to adapt and adjust and what he did with the quarterbacks that were there in Seattle. So I was very comfortable moving forward with Shane in that. And it's really about his track record, right? So when you have a current head coach or his head coach that was with him say those words about him and talk to me at length about it, and then me watch the tape and then what he actually did with all those quarterbacks, to me that's proof. Yeah, like you would any offensive coordinator, right? You're going to lean on the process of that because, obviously quarterback's the leader of the offense along with with the offensive coordinator. So yeah, heavy for sure.
As you mentioned how you've been evaluating quarterbacks your whole life, are there any traits that you value differently now than you did when you started your career?
Yeah, I look at situations. I look at the guys that can operate third down, 2 minute, in the end of the game situations. That to me is that's the separator for me. And then you look at toughness. You got to look, and toughness for a quarterback really is about the mental toughness to be able to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball, and then also have the discernment to be able to move out of the pocket and create when it's necessary. So, and they come on all different shapes and sizes. But it's always been fun to evaluate those guys.
Talk about situational football on offense. You said you were involved in a lot of those play calls, the short yardage stuff. How do you think you did that last year, and do you think you'll still be involved in those decision makings next year?
Yeah, always as a head coach, you're always going to be involved in those, and that's part of the process. Yeah, just the man. First of all, the person that he is. You look at that first. He's got a great personality, great way about him. He's got great character, and just his track record. He's been a part of some great defenses. He's obviously been here with the Bears, and obviously what he did over in Buffalo with Sean was pretty impressive too. So I'm excited about partnering up with him for sure. Yeah. Yeah, a lot. So I'm so proud of Jalen, the way he improved and the way he really took the challenge to be a ball guy, and he certainly did that. He's a great leader not only in our defensive back room, but in our whole defensive room too. And he's really starting to be a really good leader in our whole football team. So I'm excited about him. Again, like Ryan said this morning, we obviously want to get him to a long-term deal. I hope they're close. I hope it works out. But certainly excited. We'll be excited to have him back. Yeah, you're looking for a guy that pairs well with him. Jaquan is the guy that's a strong safety. He comes down, mans tight ends. He's a big hammer. The guy that we'll be looking for has got to have athletic ability. He's got to have range. He's got to have great communication skills. And he's got to have ball skills. We want all of our guys to have the ability to take the ball away, and he has to have that too. And then eventually grow into a leader. If it's a free agent, he's going to have to feel the temperature of the room and then and dive into the leadership role. And if it's a rookie, he's going to have to develop that with the other guys.
Two more. After the quarterback is the next priority in the pass rusher, you look at that defense and say, well, we can't just keep trying to get by without
Yeah, we have several other priorities for sure. So ordering them is really not we're not there yet, but certainly pass rusher is one of them. We got to make sure that we have somebody opposite Sweat, and make sure we can never have enough of those guys because they affect the game most.
Last one.
Just right now, depth. We don't have a lot of depth there. First of all, that's the first part, and then adding some dynamic pieces there. Through free agency potentially and through the draft potentially. So, to me, I know when you're trying to defend that, when you have a really weapon at tight end, and you got a weapon at the X receiver at DJ, when you add a piece or two to the other side, it really balances you up, and it's hard to defend for sure.
Yeah, I love Roshan. He's done a great job, and we'll see where he develops. Right? He had a rookie year. I've always said that. From first year to second year, that's where you make your biggest jump. And I love where he is right now in his development.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. All right. Yeah, her name is Kelly Eberflus.